Sorghum is a grain that's long been used as cattle feed, but now there's a growing demand for food-grade sorghum. One Nebraska farmer saw that as an opportunity to grow his business. Getting a crop to market involves harvest time in the field for most farmers. That's true for Gerald Simonson and his son Brian. But for this crop, there's another step in the process.
Well, how many different states do we have going out today?
We got South Carolina, Wyoming.
This year we're on track to ship about 95,000 bushels.
These 25-pound buckets contain food-grade sorghum flour, a wheat flour substitute. Sorghum flour is used to make breads, cakes, and baked goods for those with celiac disease. The disease affects people whose digestive systems have difficulty handling the protein glutens found in wheat, barley, and rye.
Now, this is what the flour looks like. It's a little, got a little more of a yellow tint than say white wheat flour, but as far as texture and consistency, it's very close to white wheat flour.
Neither Gerald nor his wife Julie suffer from celiac disease, but a growing demand for the flour alternative has provided them with an opportunity to expand their sorghum operation. It's also generated positive feedback from their customers across the country.
Every once in a while we'll get a letter back from somebody that says, I made pancakes for my husband and he hasn't had pancakes for 7 years, and he was thrilled.
Well, roughly 60% of our customer base is people that have either celiac sprue or another wheat intolerance. Well, it looks like this is coming up pretty good. There's a few blank spots, but for the most part, it's good shape.
Gerald and Brian are inspecting the fields on the 3,500 acres Gerald shares with his brother. To conserve water and reduce erosion, they use the no-till method of planting, where old sorghum stalks are allowed to become compost for new crops. In this case, soybeans.
It's great for growing crops. And your microbial activity, the insects and all the natural things occur when you don't till the land.
Their recently planted sorghum crop is just broken through. At maturity, the stalks will stand as tall as corn, and their tops will bristle with hundreds of seeds.
It has a bushy head, and the seed is all completely exposed. There's no sheath on it or husk like what you'd have with wheat or barley.
Seeds from the stalks are what Gerald grinds into flour, first using a stone mill and then a sifter, separating the flour from the abrasive particles known as grits. But nothing is wasted. The grits are used as a high-protein livestock feed. Gerald is a fourth-generation Nebraska farmer, continuing a heritage his great-grandfather started when he planted milo, an older name for sorghum.
My granddad was one of the first people to start growing milo around here back in about 1929, and we've been growing it ever since.
Whether the Simonson children continue the farming legacy is still uncertain. It's a question asked in many households across the Heartland. For Brian, there's no definite answer yet.
Well, there's a lot of other things that I'd like to do, but being out here, it's kind of hard to say no.
You know, there's people who say the last thing they would do is encourage their son to stay on the farm, and other people who want nothing more. And I think, you know, that choice has got to be with Brian.
Grown on millions of acres from Texas and Oklahoma through the Dakotas, sorghum's need for less water than some other crops makes it a popular choice for many farmers. Livestock feed and ethanol production provide possible markets, but the Simonsons say the plant as a food source is important for the nation.
Oh, I see big increases, you know, for the food sorghum industry in general. You know, we're not getting rich, but the business is growing, and, you know, it's holding its own.